Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name is John Imperial. I'm an architect in Anchorage, Alaska, and today I want to share to you guys my experience of owning this 16-inch MacBook Pro for a year. So I'm not planning on going into a deep dive when it comes to the benchmarks and all of that good stuff. I'll leave those things to the pros, and I'm sure you can find a lot of videos like that already on YouTube. I'm mainly going to focus on my experience as an architect, as a content creator, and just how well it's working for me. So before anything else, I have one request for you guys. Before you hit the dislike button, please hear me out. By creating this video, I am not telling you to buy an Apple computer. I'm not saying that they're faster, stronger, and that they're better than a Windows laptop, and definitely this is what you should get. All I'm trying to say here is that maybe you should consider it if it fits your needs. And I just want to encourage some of you guys out there, because I know that in the architecture community, we're so quick to say no to Apple computers. But the truth is, if it fits your workflow, if it fits and works with the program that you want to use, why not? Spoiler alert, it is a good device, but it all depends on your needs. Before anything else, I feel like I need to share to you guys a little bit about where I'm coming from. I am a longtime Windows user and I still love it. I don't hate on Windows laptops or computers. I really was just looking for a laptop that would be perfect for my needs. I was looking for a laptop that I can bring around with me. So I tested the Razer Blade 15 and the ThinkPad X1 Extreme. And I know there's the P1, but they're pretty similar. Anyway, in the process of testing out both laptops, I experienced several issues. I experienced thermal throttling, I experienced charging issues, performance issues, and it felt like I bought a new laptop, but it's actually making me more inefficient because I was having all of these issues. So I ended up selling both laptops, and right around that time, the 16-inch MacBook Pro was announced. I was kind of hesitant actually because I was coming from a 15-inch MacBook Pro and I wasn't too pleased with the whole experience. I felt like I was too much of a Windows user and I couldn't commit to the Mac OS. But around this time, it felt like this was the best option out there. And with Apple's good return policy, I felt comfortable ordering it. So if you want to check out my initial video, go ahead and watch it right here. So I know what you're thinking, why not build my own PC, right? And why not buy a gaming laptop? Well, there were three criteria that I was looking at around that time. Number one, I wanted power. I wanted something that can handle a lot of the things that I'm doing with content creation, photo editing, video editing, and of course, everything that I'm doing when it comes to architecture. Second, I wanted something that's portable. And I thought I was going to travel a lot in 2020. We all know how that played out. I wanted to get a laptop that I can take with me wherever I go, even just as simple as from here in the office to the living room, to the kitchen, or a coffee shop, whatnot, and still be able to bring that power with me. And the last thing I was looking for was something that looked professional. I don't know about you guys, but for me, naturally, I'm a designer, I'm an architect. I wanted something that looked good. I wanted something that would encourage me to work, help me stay motivated, inspire me, all that good stuff. It's kind of like a fresh haircut, right? You feel so good afterwards and you just feel more confident, or maybe you're just wearing like a fine suit and you feel more sophisticated. All that stuff. It's those intangibles sometimes make a big difference. So building my own PC was out of the question because it's not portable. And when it comes to buying a gaming laptop, I don't really consider a lot of them to look professional, maybe except for the Razer Blade 15, but I already tried that. And I also consider the XPS 15 because it looked professional, it is portable, and it has power. But unfortunately, a lot of the people I trusted advised against it because of the thermal issues. So with all that said, it boiled down to the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I thought to myself, well, why not give it a chance? And here we are a year later. I'm not thinking of selling it, so that's a very good sign. When I have this 16-inch MacBook Pro into its docked mode, I have it connected to this 34-inch curved LED monitor, and I have it docked on that South Arc stand. And if you're wondering, and if you want to see my whole setup, you can watch this video right here. and you'll see all of the products linked there. What I like about this setup, like I said earlier, is the simple fact that it doesn't matter whether I have it docked in here in the office or I have it in my lap in the living room. I don't experience any performance loss, which is a very good thing. So when all of this is over and we're back to the new normal, I can travel with it. I could be on a plane, coffee shop, and I could do my work 100% efficiently. So what are the things that I like about the 16-inch MacBook Pro? This first one is kind of something that you need to experience before you know the benefits of it. And it's the fact that it plays well with my other devices. I have a MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, I have my iPhone, I have an AirPods Pro, and the fact that they all kind of play together. When I put my AirPods on and I'm working on my MacBook and all of a sudden I want to play a video on my iPad, it switches automatically. When I get a phone call, it automatically adjusts to my phone. That's just amazing. AirDrop is another thing, sending big files. I found that to be actually more reliable than I previously thought. And it's been just an easy way to send photos between devices. And also the fact that I can use my iPad as a second screen for my MacBook. Although I really haven't done a lot of this lately because, as you know, I'm basically stationed in this office, but that's a big thing. If you don't have an extra monitor and you already have an iPad, you can use that for free. Well, you paid for it, but you know what I'm saying. The second thing I like about it is reliability. That's something that you really can't put a price tag on. And that's been a big deal, especially after experiencing two unreliable laptops. It feels so good to be able to rely on this and throw whatever I want in it. I've never had an issue when it comes to 4K video editing, photo editing, and all of that stuff, multiple Google Chrome tabs all at once. It hasn't had an issue, and that to me is everything. And it works just as well when I'm working on my architecture projects. And it's worth noting that a lot of the programs I use are native on the Mac OS. I use SketchUp and AutoCAD LT. I know, don't shame me, but it really just gets the job done. And with this time that we're having, I find it hard to shell out some more money in learning a new program and also losing a little bit of the efficiency that I already have with those two programs. Although I still want to learn ArchiCAD. In the same line, if you are thinking of getting the 16-inch MacBook Pro, you really need to look at the programs that you want to use, and we'll talk more about this later. Another thing that I like about the 16-inch MacBook Pro is how powerful it is. And of course, it's an expensive laptop. It should be faster and more powerful, but a lot of companies claim that. It's the fact that this actually is. It's fast, it's powerful. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a Windows CPU that my wife is using since we started working from home, and I thought we would need to switch at some point because I wasn't sure whether this laptop would be able to handle everything that I wanted to do. And the fact that it's been over 9 months now and I've used this every day at work and we never had to switch, that should tell you that this is pretty reliable. But again, I'm working more on residential projects and it might be different for you. And this is where you kind of need to use your judgment on whether your needs fit this. When it comes to renderings, I really haven't been doing a lot of that lately. I don't think I've done actually a rendering in about 4 years. I find that the clients I've been working with are happy to just see the SketchUp model. Sometimes I manipulate it in Photoshop, make it a little bit more realistic, add some trees, people, and all of that stuff. And I find that that works well enough. And hopefully soon I'll be able to test out some rendering programs. Right now I'm not interested in installing Windows on this because one, I'm probably not going to be able to test it out anyway. Like, I'm not going to use Revit, I'm not going to use 3ds Max, I'm not going to do a lot of the programs that you guys might use. And I'm sorry to say that, it's just, even if I do it and install it, it's not going to be a proper review because I don't use it on a daily basis. It's probably just going to be a lot of benchmarks, and it might not be up to par anyway. Sorry about that. And some other little small things that I like about owning the 16-inch MacBook Pro, one of them are the speakers. It's the best speakers out there when it comes to laptops. I actually didn't find the need to buy speakers until this month, just because I was so satisfied with how this was performing. Also, I like the mic that they've included in this whole laptop. Video calls and all of that stuff are super good. Trackpad is amazing, and the keyboard is just top notch. I love it. So now let's talk about some of the things that I don't like or wish I could change. When it comes to content creation, there isn't really a lot, because a lot of the programs that I use on a Windows laptop are kind of the same version, layout, and everything else in Mac OS. So that's kind of a wash there. But when it comes to the architecture side of things, the layout and how you do things is a little different. So take a look at SketchUp, for example. The toolbars are different. If you look at the material panel, everything is kind of in a different format. The material selection is kind of weird, and it took a lot of getting used to for me. And it's the same when it comes to AutoCAD. I'm using AutoCAD LT, and you can see that the layout is different, the buttons are different, how everything is placed is different. Like, you can see the text toolbar right here, the dimension toolbar. It's just kind of weird, especially after being so used to Windows. I've learned all of these programs using Windows, and with that difference in UI and layout, it actually affected my efficiency at first. But you know, the more you use it, the more you get familiar with it, and then eventually it's not a factor anymore. Another thing that I don't like, sadly, is the touch bar. It's really nice for other things, but when it comes to architecture, you really need that row of function keys, and I don't like looking down just to make sure I'm pressing the right buttons, and sometimes even the subtle movement of my fingers gets picked up, and I don't like that. I thought at first that the touch bar would be super cool, but eventually the novelty kind of wears off and you just want to be productive, and that's one of the things that I don't like about it. So most of the time I have this laptop docked just because I can work faster that way, but when I'm out traveling and all that stuff, I'm gonna have to deal with the touch bar, which is fine. Another thing that I wish Apple would fix is the webcam. It's 2020. Come on, Apple. We need a better webcam. We're doing a lot of FaceTimes, Zooms, and all of that stuff. And I actually think that we would do more of that even after coronavirus is over. And I expect Apple to upgrade the webcam maybe in the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. So with all that said, do I recommend the 16-inch MacBook Pro? Well, that's kind of hard to answer because your needs are different than mine. Your process is different than mine, and how you do things is different than how I do things. So I think it boils down to you really knowing what you need and what you want. For me personally, this works great. I'm out of school. I'm not really trying to experiment a lot when it comes to programs, and if I do, I know that this laptop would be able to handle it. ArchiCAD, Twinmotion, when I get there, I know this laptop would be able to do it. But for you, if you're a student especially, you might want to try 3ds Max, you might want to try Revit, all of the other programs. And although you can install those programs using boot camps and parallels on this 16-inch MacBook Pro, that's something that you need to weigh on. For me, that was a struggle. I didn't like the fact that I had 2 operating systems on my laptop and I need to switch to Mac or Windows, and then sometimes I'll forget that I did it on Windows, so I have to switch back and forth, and it was just a mess for me. I'm pretty organized as a person, but I couldn't deal with that. But you might be different. For you, that might be a perfect way to separate work and fun. You can install all the architecture programs on the Windows side of your computer, and then you can have all of your fun, whatever stuff on the Mac. Just an idea. But you really have to ask yourself, why do I want a MacBook? Is it because of the social status that it kind of gives you a little bit, right? You feel like you have a premium device? Is it because everyone has it? Is it because you want to look cool? You just really need to check your motives of wanting the 16-inch MacBook Pro, because I know I'm prone to doing that too, but for me, I knew that this was the perfect fit just because of all the reasons I've stated in this video. And you gotta think about how much this device really is, because you can buy a tablet and another laptop with this price. And I'm not gonna judge you. Obviously, I bought the same laptop, but I'm just trying to make sure that you're getting it because you actually need it, not because of any other underlying issues that doesn't really pertain to what you want to do. So let's say you did your due diligence, you checked your heart, and you know that this is the laptop that you want and need. I would urge you to maybe wait a little bit, mostly because I think that the 16-inch MacBook Pro, the new one, will be worth the wait. If you think and look at the 13-inch MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air with the M1 chip, those devices are crazy. The performance on it is super good. It's very promising, but those are targeted towards maybe the low power consumer kind of person. So think about how much better it would be for the 16-inch MacBook Pro, who's targeted for like pro consumers, right? Like people who might be more power hungry. So I think that might be worth the wait. And if it isn't, I'm sure that the old 16-inch MacBook Pro with the Intel chips would drop in price, and therefore it would be a win-win for you. While we're on that topic, I just want to touch on the M1 chip real quick. I think it looks very promising based on all the reviews that I watched. It looks really good. I wish I can get my hands on them, but unfortunately, that's not how we roll on this channel just yet. Hopefully soon. But there are two things that I would love to be able to check out. Number one, I'm not sure how compatible the current architecture programs are in this chip. I'm sure developers would probably upgrade and make it compatible in the future anyway, but you know, that might be something that you need to wait on, make sure everything is good. Number two is the fact that it only has 16 gig of unified memory at the highest point. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I have 32 gigs of RAM on my computer, and it feels like that's just enough. So maybe when they release a 32 gig unified memory, even more, that would be good. Like I said, I've researched it very minimally. I just wanted to look at it. I'm not able to say whether or not I recommend it just because I'm not able to test it. I'm going off of YouTube videos and all that stuff, so you guys can maybe do your own research on that one. Anyways guys, that's my 1-year review of the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I know it's not the most in-depth video ever, but that's how I use it. I just want to keep it real. If you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comments below and I will answer them the best I can. Also, if you want to check out the comments section of my first MacBook Pro video, I answered every question there as well. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you love it, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.